Please rise for the presentation of the colors as the flags of the United States of America and the state of California are brought in by the Honor Guard from the Richard A. McGee Correctional Training Center. Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Correctional Counselor 2, Nathan Justin of the California State Prison Solano.
Skeleton, off. Freeze it, off.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order, on. Skeleton, off.
Please be seated. And now, the Reverend Roderick Stewart, CDCR chaplain from the California State Prison, Sacramento, will lead the invocation.
Good morning. Good morning. Let us pray. Most gracious Lord, we are gathered here today with colleagues and friends and family to honor those who have sacrificed, faithfully served beyond the call of duty, master both on and off the job. While acknowledging your authority and presence in this place, we pause to pray, requesting your blessing upon this ceremony. Lord, may this ceremony encourage and strengthen the hearts of the honorees today and in the days to come. God, because every good and perfect gift comes from you, we thank you for giving them courage in spite of fear, strength in times of weakness, wisdom in the midst of chaos, protection among danger, and healing and comfort to the wounded. May they be reminded today, God, that their labor and contributions to this world are not in vain, because you see all and know all. Lord, bless the leadership of this department. Provide them with your knowledge and wisdom in these difficult but opportune times to lead in a way that honors you. Now, Lord, may the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart be acceptable in your sight. Amen.
It is my privilege to introduce the Secretary of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Jeffrey Beard.
So good morning, everybody. Okay, good. We've got some people out here. So this is like a lot more fun kind of thing for me to do than I usually have to do. There's a lot of things they put on my schedule that I really would prefer not to have to go and do, and so it's really great to have events like this and to be with all of you and share in this moment. And so I want to welcome you all, and I want to thank you for coming today. I'd like to start by thanking the California Corrections Supervisors Organization for graciously hosting the CDCR Medal of Valor Awards ceremony for the past 9 years. Without the organization's contribution, we would not be able to gather here today. I also want to thank the staff of the Richard A. McGee Correctional Training Center for their efforts in making us feel welcome today at their facility. They have an awful lot of very good staff here who do an excellent job, and we're lucky to have them, and we're lucky to have this facility. This year has presented many challenges to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and I would like to thank all of our dedicated staff who work tirelessly to meet the goals of our agency to secure a safer California through correctional excellence. Each and every staff member is an essential link in safeguarding our communities and our public safety. Today we honor those who have been placed in situations that call for actions that are above and beyond the normal demands of duty. Today, we also recognize dedicated CDCR employees who exemplify a commitment to selfless service day in and day out. We are honoring more than 100 men and women in this 29th annual Medal of Valor program. On a somber note, one of this year's Medal of Valor honorees passed away last month. Dr. McCarthy, the former chief of mental health at Pelican Bay State Prison, was to be awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. His wife is here today to accept that medal. Corrections officers, parole officers, treatment staff, and the critical support staff at CDCR are charged with assuring that the largest adult and youth offender department in our nation runs safely, runs securely, and runs humanely under what are often extremely stressful and challenging conditions. I would like to acknowledge the high moral and ethical standards of CDCR staff, both on and off duty. This high standard is noted today by honoring courageous acts that vary from saving a fellow officer from an inmate's attack, to rescuing a member of the public, to confronting an armed parolee at large. While facing danger or adversity, some of these men and women have demonstrated split-second decision-making, bravery, and integrity. Others have shown selfless dedication to teamwork in order to deal with unexpected challenges. In all cases, their actions were above and beyond the call of duty. Today's honorees, their noble acts and innovative ideas are an inspiration to all of us. I'm truly honored to lead this department, and I'm very proud of the employees that we are recognizing here today. So now, please join me in congratulating the recipients of the 2013 Medal of Valor Awards as each of them are brought up in front. Thank you.
On another note, the state legislature is represented today by Tony Wong, representing Assemblymember Susan Talamontes Eggman, Brandon King, Field Representative for Assemblymember Jim Frazier, Max Vargas, the Deputy Director for Senator Kathleen Galgiani, Paul Zeke, representing Assemblymember Kristen Olson, and Ahmed Salam, a representative for U.S. Congressman Jim McNerney. In an effort to promote employee recognition staff-wide, CDCR expanded the awards program last year. The Employee Recognition Award proved so popular that CDCR is including them again. Directors in our divisions have recognized employees in their areas for outstanding work. Representing the first Employee Recognition Awards is Dr. Diana Taj, Undersecretary of Administration and Offender Services.
Good morning. The Administrator of the Year honor goes to Sharisa Gulapalli, Senior Information Systems Analyst for Enterprise Information Systems. She led a team in the development and successful deployment of the Visitor Processing Appointment Scheduling System, also known as VPAS. VPAS is the first bilingual internet system in the country for inmate families, friends, and attorneys to make online appointments to visit inmates. VPAS was developed and deployed by CDCR staff. No external vendors were involved in the development. Available 24/7, VPAS eliminates the need to arrive early at the institution to be processed on a first-come, first-served basis. Having an appointment ensures a more streamlined check-in process, reduces wait times and frustration levels for visitors, and improves safety levels for visitors and staff. VPAS cut the wait time for visitors, reduced overcrowding in visitation centers, and reduced the time staff needed to process visitors. At one institution, walk-in appointments were reduced by 96% in the first 2 weeks of implementation. The public has embraced the system, with 98% of all appointments booked through VPAS, and 75% of VPAS appointments are booked within the first 10 to 13 minutes they are open to the public. Her leadership and hard work enabled CDCR to launch and operate an innovative program that provides a service to the public. Please come forward to receive your award from Secretary Beard. Our next award is the Medical Dental Professional of the Year. The honor goes to Dr. Gregory Tarasoff. Dr. Tarasoff has been instrumental not only in the development and rollout of the statewide mental health program telepsychiatry initiative, but also in recruiting, hiring, and retaining psychiatrists statewide. Dr. Tarasoff has successfully activated telepsychiatry services to numerous institutions statewide with the ultimate goal of providing services to all 34 institutions statewide as needed. The expansion of offering telepsychiatry services is critical to the mission of the statewide mental health program. It allows psychiatrists to see an inmate remotely from anywhere in the state. In the past, certain institutions have had trouble retaining psychiatrists due to location. With this expanded service, a psychiatrist can be housed at a headquarters and provide service to an inmate as north as Pelican Bay or as far south as Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility. In addition to his hard work specific to telepsychiatry, Dr. Tarasoff has been influential in recruiting psychiatrists to work at numerous institutions statewide. Due to Dr. Tarasoff's efforts, the statewide mental health program has been able to hire more than 50 psychiatrists since January 1st, 2013. And he just told me 100 by the end of this year. No pressure. Dr. Tarasoff's vision, leadership, and ingenuity have been influential, and he is truly one of the finest professionals in CDCR. Dr. Tarasoff, please come forward to receive your award from Secretary Beard. The next Employee Recognition Award is for the Division of Juvenile Justice Officer of the Year. The honor goes to Treatment Team Supervisor Quincy Elwee. Quincy Elwee is a treatment team supervisor at O.H. Close Youth Correctional Facility who manages 2 high-risk youth living units. Over the past 2 years, she has been instrumental in the implementation of the Integrated Behavior Treatment Model, also known as IBTM, at O.H. Close. Operating under a court order to initiate reform, the Feral Safety and Welfare Remedial Plan mandated development and implementation of the IBTM. The skill-based treatment model is evidence-based and has shown to significantly reduce recidivism for both high and low-risk offenders. Under her leadership, the Department of Juvenile Justice was successful in meeting court mandates and overseeing a structured implementation. This has allowed DJJ to meet the 2-year implementation goal. She has been instrumental in the rollout of the entire IBTM from the California Youth Assessment Screening Instrument and individualized case planning, the daily planning and program implementation, quality assurance, and continues to spearhead the monthly meetings. In addition, she is in charge of overseeing the program service day for O.H. Close. Through her oversight and direction, O.H. Close continues to meet and exceed weekly compliance. Treatment Team Supervisor Quincy Elwee, please come forward to receive your award. The next Employee Recognition Award is for the Rehabilitation Professional of the Year. The honor goes to Correctional Case Counselor 3, Carlos Ramirez. Carlos Ramirez began his CDCR career in 1987 as a correctional officer. He advanced through the ranks, promoting to Correctional Sergeant in 1993, Correctional Counselor in 1997, Correctional Lieutenant in 1999, Correctional Counselor 2 in 2001, and to Correctional Counselor 3 in 2007. He is currently the Reentry Hub Manager for the program at the California Institute for Men, CIM. Reentry hubs are designed to provide cognitive behavioral therapy programs to address offenders' criminogenic needs prior to release and to facilitate a successful transition back to the communities in order to reduce their likelihood of reoffending. Counselor Ramirez has been instrumental in the implementation phase of the reentry hubs. In addition to providing the executive staff at CIM with an overview of the Reentry Hub program, he volunteered to provide the same overview at the California Rehabilitation Center. His training sessions and overviews have allowed CIM to be able to consistently fill at least 98% of its program slots with inmates who meet target population. Please come forward to receive your award.
Martin Hoshino, Undersecretary of Operations, was going to be our next presenter, but he couldn't be here today because he is testifying before the Assembly Budget Committee on the Governor's Prison Population Plan. In his place, Michael Stainer, Director of the Division of Adult Institutions, will present our next set of Employee Recognition Awards.
Good morning. As Lieutenant Robinson stated, Mr. Hoshino cannot be here today, but prior to coming out here this morning, I was able to meet with him, and he wanted me to make sure to relay his apologies for not being able to be here. And I can assure you, based upon what he's doing this morning, he would much rather be here celebrating the accomplishments and the deeds of our staff than doing what he's doing. So it is my honor to present the next set of awards. So the next award is for Correctional Officer of the Year, and this award goes to Correctional Officer Eli Davis. The California native began his career with CDCR as a correctional officer at Chuckawalla Valley State Prison in 1996. He has been active in the Blythe community for years, volunteering as a coach for boys and girls sports, including football, baseball, and softball. As a member of the Blythe Masonic Lodge and Blue Knights of California, he also volunteers his time to the Civil Servants for Santa, Employee Activities Committee, Girl Scouts, and Future Farmers of America. On November 14th, 2012, while en route to pick up an inmate at Pleasant Valley State Prison, Officer Davis and his partner saw a man crouched by some bushes near Interstate 10. The officer stopped and questioned him. The California Highway Patrol was notified. The man was a parolee from Ironwood State Prison. A search of a vehicle that arrived to pick him up found illegal narcotics, paraphernalia, and a weapon. In addition, his footprints were tracked to the north side of Ironwood State Prison, where a package containing 64 cell phones, numerous chargers, and other contraband items was found. Officer Davis's willingness and ability to assume the role of a leader makes him an asset to CDCR and the team at Chuckawalla Valley State Prison. Officer Davis, please come forward to accept your award. The next award is for Correctional Supervisor of the Year, and the honor goes to Sergeant Elijah Carone. Sergeant Carone began his career with CDCR in May of 2005. His computer expertise immediately set him apart, while his leadership skills were instantly recognized. He exemplified professionalism and extraordinary moral character. In 2011, California State Prison Sacramento was challenged to become the first CDCR institution to become accredited by the American Correctional Association. Sergeant Carone was assigned to develop an electronic auditing tool to track compliance on the ACA requirements. CSP Sacramento became CDCR's first ACA-accredited institution, paving the way for others. Sergeant Carone's tools and methodology were so remarkable that CDCR embraced his work, while ACA indicated they may adopt it as the tool for all institutions. Coincidentally, during the ACA audit, CSP Sacramento experienced both an escape and a large riot. Sergeant Carone successfully led portions of the ACA audit while monitoring the escape and serving as a responder to the riot. With an increase in contraband cell phone use, Sergeant Carone was permitted to implement an interdiction program to investigate inmates' use of social media. His efforts resulted in the confiscation of more than 250 cellular devices. Additionally, Sergeant Carone received a federal grant for the use of electronic investigative programs to examine information contained on electronic devices. His recommendation convinced CSP Sacramento to be the first to place the daily information reporting systems on its share drive, eliminating the need for external devices. In 2008, while a correctional officer, he came to the aid of an unconscious officer, thwarting approaching inmates and potentially saving the officer from greater injury. Sergeant Carone, please come forward to receive your award. The next award is for Executive of the Year. This year's honors go to Ronald Rackley, Warden of the California Healthcare Facility. With CDCR's highly professional and dedicated staff, selecting the Executive of the Year is extremely difficult. But Warden Rackley has earned a reputation for being able to overcome numerous challenges that were constantly being thrown at him. The California Correctional Healthcare Facility, or as we know it, CHCF, is California's newest institution. It has a complex mission of providing medical care and mental health treatment to inmates with the most severe and long-term health care needs. This 1.2 million square foot facility will house 1,722 inmate patients and employ approximately 2,400 people, many in the healthcare professions. The overwhelming task of organizing and activating a structure of this size required a CDCR call on some of its best people. Last year, the department contacted Warden Rackley, who was at that time the warden of the dual vocational institution, for his help. Without any pause, he accepted the challenge and became the acting warden at the CHCF. Warden Rackley worked diligently with the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Executive of the Department of State Hospitals in facilitating the successful activation of CHCF. There was no rest, the days were long, and the tasks were never ending. But Warden Rackley, along with all other departments and countless construction and activation teams, ensured a successful scheduled opening, and this facility received the first inmate patients on July 22nd of this year. A feat of this magnitude takes more than one person to accomplish. It takes teams of professionals working together to ensure success. And it takes leaders like Warden Rackley. The Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation takes great pride in honoring Ronald Rackley as Executive of the Year. Please come forward to receive your award.
The Distinguished Service Medal is awarded for an employee's work conduct with the department for a period of months or years, or involvement in a specific assignment of unusual benefit to the department. Presenting the first of the Distinguished Service Medals is Dr. Tim Belovich, Director of Healthcare Services.
Good morning. Dr. Timothy McCarthy passed away earlier this summer. His passing was a huge loss to CDCR. Before his death, the Medal of Valor Committee voted to award him a Distinguished Service Medal. Under the direction of Dr. Timothy McCarthy, as Chief of Mental Health at Pelican Bay State Prison, his staff of psychiatrists, psychologists, and social workers have received extremely positive reviews from the Coleman Court monitors. Dr. McCarthy was also instrumental in developing and coordinating the Electronic Information and Documents Steering Committee, which ensures that information is accurately entered into the Madrid Patient Informational Management System, assisting the institution in successfully meeting requirements to end the Madrid litigation. The nomination for the award stated that Dr. McCarthy holds the highest regard for policies and procedures, but he also possesses the courage to effect positive change to Pelican Bay State Prison policies and procedures, setting more efficient and effective models. Dr. McCarthy's hard work, innovative thinking, self-sacrifice, and extraordinary leadership have been the backbone of the mental health program at Pelican Bay. The nomination concluded. Accepting the award today is Janine McCarthy, Dr. McCarthy's wife. Mrs. McCarthy, please come forward. During her years of service as a psychologist at California State Prison Solano, Dr. Elena Janelle has given freely of her own time to supervise, train, and educate inmates. For many years, she oversaw the Project Pride program, a self-help program that was recognized by custody staff as reducing the number of incidents on the 4-yard, where she had implemented it. Dr. Janelle, who serves as Suicide Prevention Coordinator, helps inmate programs with the Peer Health Education Program, training and directing inmates in mental health matters. She has volunteered without additional compensation to meet with inmates one evening a week to educate the general inmate population about mental health and their possible mental health needs. Dr. Janelle regularly goes above and beyond the call of duty and is always willing to lend her expertise to improve outcomes for inmates and to help them live better lives. For her actions, Dr. Janelle is awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Please come forward. At the N.A. Chad Youth Correctional Facility, Dr. Stephen Sherman in March 2012 was assigned to Sacramento Hall Intensive Behavioral Treatment Program. Sacramento Hall has the most violent and mentally ill youth in the Division of Juvenile Justice. The unit has a history of suicide attempts and staff assaults. Dr. Sherman spends the vast majority of his day interacting with youth, reinforcing appropriate behavior, and removing secondary gains for youth's manipulative behavior. He has risked his own safety while working tirelessly with this difficult population, and he has been the victim of one assault by a youth, yet still chooses to work in this difficult unit. As a result of Dr. Sherman's dedication and tireless efforts to improve the lives of these youth, Sacramento Hall's overall rate of attempted suicides has decreased significantly, and the number of youth who have made substantial progress has increased dramatically. For his actions, Dr. Stephen Sherman is being awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Please come forward, Dr. Sherman.
Presenting the next set of the Distinguished Service Medal is Scott Carney, Director of Administrative Services.
Good morning. Thank you. It's a privilege to be in the presence of folks who are so dedicated and have accomplished such extraordinary tasks. Parole Agent 3, Gregory Weber, became the unit supervisor of the Redwood City Parole Unit in May of 2010. He focused on improving relationships between the Redwood City Parole Unit and the supervisors in command of 23 local law enforcement agencies. Agent Weber provided them with information about upcoming releases of all parolees and ensures they have up-to-date information on parolees in their jurisdiction. As part of the Operation Ceasefire in East Palo Alto, he helped the East Palo Alto Police Department determine which parolees were at risk. He coordinated the attendance of parolees at Operation Ceasefire orientations, where he gave a motivational speech about their choices in their lives and how probation and parole can provide a positive influence. He demonstrates his personal commitment by personally speaking with each of the parolees in attendance. With the implementation of realignment, Agent Weber has been the main point of contact for the San Mateo County Probation Department. For his actions, Agent Weber is awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Unfortunately, Agent Weber is unable to be here today. In his 5 years on the job, Parole Agent Roger Gold has shown an exceptional work ethic. 3 years ago, he volunteered for the GPS sex offender caseload and took on a caseload of more than 40 sex offenders. Agent Gold also took on additional responsibilities as a liaison for the Redwood City Parole Unit and several law enforcement agencies in San Mateo County. For example, on June 5, 2011, a family of 4 was leaving a baby shower in East Palo Alto when they were shot at by 2 men. Both parents and their 3-month-old son were hit. The infant was killed. Agent Gold compiled a list of parolees and former parolees in the area with gang affiliations. During searches, he discovered 3 semi-automatic firearms that helped lead to the arrest of 2 teenagers, one of whom was later charged in connection with the infant's homicide. For his actions, Agent Roger Gold is awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Agent Gold is unable to be here today. In 2003, Lieutenant Thomas Langford became Crisis Response Team Commander for 3 prisons: Folsom State Prison, California State Prison Sacramento, and Mule Creek State Prison. The Crisis Response Team consists of 22 tactical operators and 5 negotiators. Lieutenant Langford has proven his command skills during numerous emergency situations, including a hostage crisis at CSP Sacramento in May of 2006. He led the crisis response team during the 10.5-hour incident with unwavering fortitude and courage. His leadership has created a positive and dedicated crisis response team, and all of his members are proud to serve under his command. He takes extreme pride in the role as commander. He is a great role model, leading by example and participating in all phases of training. For his actions, Lieutenant Thomas Langford is awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Please come forward and receive your award.
Presenting the last set of Distinguished Service Medals will be Vimal Singh, Associate Director, Reception Centers, Department of Adult Institutions.
Good morning. In October 2011, the Criminal Intelligence Analysis Unit, in collaboration with the Office of Correctional Safety, gathered all outstanding escapees from the 20 years or more. Special Services Unit involved were given the list and began gathering fresh information and leads about escapees as part of Operation Manhunt. In 2012, while conducting Operation Manhunt investigations, Rancho Cucamonga SSU agents' actions resulted in 220 arrests, the recovery of 95 firearms, 1 military bazooka, the seizure of 26 pounds of illegal narcotics, the recovery of $104,000 in asset forfeitures, and $60,000 in property assets. The arrest of 14 individuals who had escaped or released in error. The unit is awarded Distinguished Service Medal. Special Agents Karen Mori, Brian Ducardi, John Castanedo, Jeff Faust, Steve Gutierrez, Jason Marks, Guillermo Moreno, and Office Technician Janera Santiago. Awardees, please come forward to receive your awards. Parole agent Beth Bowens exceeds every expectation and genuinely cares about the youth she works with at OH Close Youth Correctional Facility. She has spent countless hours of her own time teaching juvenile offenders about giving back to the community. She donated supplies to ensure success of the projects. She believes both the victim and the youth learn from the experiences, that compassion for others can help heal the hearts of everyone. Last fall, Agent Bowen bought supplies and taught the youth how to weave ribbon bookmarks that were given to victims attending the Sacramento Parents of Murdered Children Vigil. She said the youth learned to be proud of doing something good for others without expecting anything in return. Year after year, she has helped with the Red Ribbon Committee, the Victims Week Committee, and countless others to benefit the youth and the institution. For her actions, Edgett Bowen is awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Please come forward, accept your award. As Assistant Unit Supervisor for the Redwood City Parole Unit, Parole Agent 2 Gordon Lee displays an exceptional work ethic. Agent Lee has sacrificed countless hours to maintain services between DAPO and outside agencies. His efforts have vastly improved the safety of agents in the field. For the past 13 years, Agent Lee has maintained the unit's portable radios and call signs for each agent. He has secured radios for parole vehicles from local law enforcement agencies at no cost to the department. CDCR purchased 12 radios for the Redwood City Parole Unit and entered into a no-cost agreement for dispatch services with the county that resulted in a substantial saving and benefit to the department, thanks to Agent Lee. For his actions, Agent Lee is awarded Distinguished Service Medal. Agent Lee, please come forward to accept your award. Of the 3 unit citations, we're not able to have all the awardees here today, but we do congratulate every one of them. However, from each of the units, we do have representation, so as we read each one, you'll see part of the unit that will be coming up. On October 6, 2012, a riot erupted at Ironwood State Prison on the Facility Recreation Yard involving approximately 460 inmates. The disturbance quickly spread to 2 other housing units, and a Code 3 response was initiated. The rioters ignored staff orders, and staff used 65 blast dispersion grenades and 72 40mm direct impact rounds and baton rounds. Pepper spray was dispersed with MK9s and MK46s, but the inmates continued to fight. Additional responders arrived, and skirmish lines were formed. Inmates ran through and around skirmish lines and threw rocks or used any other item they could find as a weapon in their attacks on each other. The yard observation officer then fired 1 warning shot into the dirt on the exercise bar area. At that point, the inmates stopped rioting and each assumed a prone position. There were several seriously injured inmates who required immediate medical attention and subsequent transport to outside hospitals. There were 4 minor injuries to staff, none of which required staff to remain off post or seek extensive medical attention. The riot was controlled quickly and efficiently due to staff's immediate actions, professionalism, training, and experience in alarm response. The Medal of Valor Committee awarded 26 unit citations for this action. Because of the large number of awards and staffing requirements, the majority of the awards will be presented in special ceremony later at Ironwood State Prison. Some of the honorees are here today: Sergeant Larry Dotterman, the second award for unit citation. Staff on Yard 1, Facility C at High Desert State Prison responded to a fist fight on August 20th, 2012. While dealing with the situation, officers were attacked by an inmate identified as a member of the Southern Hispanic Gang. When staff responded to the attack, another Southern Hispanic inmate yelled for all Southern Hispanics to join the attack. As all the Southern Hispanics on the yard rushed the officers, an institutional Code 3 was initiated. Staff used various force options as the Southern Hispanics continued to attack in waves. A majority of the staff assigned to the second and third watches responded from their facilities, as well as from parking lot areas. 49 Southern Hispanics were involved in the attack. 10 staff members were treated for injuries at the local hospital. The Medal of Valor Committee awarded 42 unit citations for this action. Because of a large number of awards and staffing requirements, the majority of the awards will be presented at a special ceremony later at High Desert State Prison. However, some of the honorees are able to be here today. Correctional Lieutenant Michael Calhoun, Correctional Sergeants Bobby Wheeler, Gary Turner, and Harold Weaver. Correctional Officers Richard Cisneros, James Whitaker, Michael Oatman, Joseph White, and Diana Oliva. Awardees, please come forward to receive your awards. The third unit citation award on November 10, 2012, Correctional Officers Gabriel Aguilar, Joe Bailey, Angela Hazelwood, and Marcel Johnson were assigned as floor officers in A4 block of California State Prison, Sacramento. They were called to investigate a cell fire and found the windows of the cell covered with paper and smoke pouring out from around the door. Officer Aguilar was able to convince the inmate to come out to the cuff port and submit to handcuffs. But as the cell door opened, the inmate was able to get out of handcuffs and charged Officer Aguilar, swinging his arms violently in a stabbing motion. Officer Aguilar couldn't remove his pepper spray from his holster, but was able to deploy in its holster, striking the inmate in the face and upper body. Officer Johnson was hit by the spray and partially blinded, but he grabbed the inmate from behind with both arms. The inmate continued to stab Officer Aguilar, even as the officer struck the inmate in the face with his fist. Officer Hazelwood drew her baton, delivered a forward strike motion towards the inmate's upper back, but due to the inmate's movement, it inadvertently struck the inmate in the back of the head. The inmate dropped his weapon as he fell to the ground. Officers Johnson, Bailey, and Aguilar gained control of the inmate and placed him back in restraints. Officer Aguilar sustained cuts on the fists. His jumpsuit was cut and torn by the inmate-manufactured weapon, but because of his protective vest, he sustained no chest injuries. I repeat, because of his protective vest, he received no chest injuries. Officer Johnson later discovered he had a laceration to the left elbow caused by the inmate's weapon. For their actions, correctional officers Gabriel Aguilar, Joe Bailey, Angela Hazelwood, and Marcel Johnson are awarded a unit citation. In addition, Officer Hazelwood is awarded a Silver Star, CDCR's third highest award for acts of bravery under extraordinary or unusual circumstances. Officers Gabriel Aguilar, Joe Bailey, Angela Hazelwood, and Marcel Johnson, please come forward to receive your awards.
The Bronze Star Medal is a department's award for saving a life without placing oneself in peril. The employee shall have used proper training and tactics in a professional manner to save or clearly contribute to saving the life of another. Presenting the first set of awards will be Dan Stone, Director of the Division of Adult Parole Operations.
Good morning. On April 5th, 2012, Correctional Sergeant Larry Dodderman responded to a personal alarm and radio transmission of medical emergency in Housing Unit D2 at Ironwood State Prison. Upon his arrival, staff informed him of an unresponsive inmate in a cell. He found the inmate lying on the floor. Sergeant Dodderman pulled the inmate out of the cell and onto the tier. Recognizing the inmate was not breathing, he began to perform CPR until medical staff arrived to relieve him. For his actions, Sergeant Dodderman is awarded the Bronze Star today. Sergeant Dodderman, please step forward and receive your award. On February 8, 2012, Correctional Officer Manuel Rocha called his wife. In a weak voice, he told her that he had rolled his vehicle as he was driving home from his shift at Sierra Conservation Center. He said his car was in a ravine, but he didn't know where. His wife called the California Highway Patrol, but was told to have her husband call the CHP. She knew he was in no condition to remember the number, so she told the CHP dispatcher to call his cell phone and use the GPS to pinpoint his location. Frantic to get help to her injured husband, Ms. Rocha called Lieutenant Harold Hughes at home to ask that an officer from SCC be sent to find her husband. Instead, Lieutenant Hughes got out of bed, drove from Modesto to meet Ms. Rocha. Together, they found the scene of the accident. Lieutenant Hughes administered first aid to her husband while awaiting CHP to arrive. For his actions, Lieutenant Hughes is awarded the Bronze Star today. Please come forward and accept your award. On December 22, 2012, Correctional Sergeant Anthony Morales was the Facility A Program Sergeant at Ironwood State Prison when he responded to a medical emergency. An inmate was unconscious, unresponsive, and not breathing. Sergeant Morales began CPR and continued to administer it while the inmate was taken from his cell, down the stairs, across the yard, and as the inmate was transported in the emergency response vehicle to the prison triage area. Only then was Sergeant Morales relieved by medical staff. This inmate, who apparently had overdosed on some type of controlled substance, eventually survived. This is not the first time Sergeant Morales has done something of this nature. In 2008, he conducted CPR on an inmate at Ironwood State Prison for more than 30 minutes until relieved by medical staff. For his actions, Sergeant Anthony Morales is awarded the Bronze Star today. Sergeant Morales was unable to be here today, but we congratulate him for his award. On December 23, 2012, Fire Captain Mark Del Barba was in the Stockton Airport to see his family off on a Christmas trip to Hawaii. As he was leaving, he saw two retired Dual Vocational Institute sergeants, Dave Stapp and Ruben Silva. While talking to these men, Captain Del Barba heard a cry for help and noticed a man trying to hold a woman who appeared to be unconscious. He asked Sergeant Silva to call 911 while he and Sergeant Stapp helped the woman. She was not breathing and did not have a pulse. Captain Del Barba immediately started CPR. the woman eventually gasped for air and started to regain consciousness. He asked her questions, gathering important medical information that he relayed to paramedics when they arrived. For his actions, Fire Captain Del Barba is awarded the Bronze Star today. Please come forward.
Presenting the next set of Bronze Star medals will be Millicent Tidwell, Director of the Division of Rehabilitative Programs.
Thank you and good morning. It's an honor to be here today. Let's get started. On March 31st, 2012, at Ironwood State Prison's tower officer received a call from a family visiting unit. The caller was screaming, "Help me." Correctional Sergeant Mario Alonso and Correctional Crescencio Alpuche were among the staff that responded. As screams were heard from inside the unit, Sergeant Alonso kicked open the gate and entered the unit with Officer Alpuche. They found a female visitor attempting to prevent an inmate's suicide. The inmate had tied a sheet around his neck and attached it to a pole. The visitor was trying to support the inmate's weight. Officer Alpuche held the inmate while Sergeant Alonso untied him from the pole. The inmate was not breathing. Sergeant Alonso untied the knot around his neck and began CPR. The inmate started to gasp for air. Thankfully, the inmate recovered fully. For their actions on that day, Sergeant Mario Alonso and Correctional Officer Crescencio Alpuche are awarded the Bronze Star. Please come forward to accept your award. Congratulations. The next bronze award goes to Parole Agent Bart Sino of the Central GPS Unit. He was conducting a review of the movements of Michael Harrison, who was a registered sex offender he was supervised. The review showed that Harrison had visited the Hanford City Library. Agent Sino created an exclusion zone around the library grounds for Harrison. The next morning, on February 27, 2012, Agent Sino was notified that Harrison had entered that exclusion zone. Agent Sino saw Harrison talking to a young boy outside the library. Harrison was taken into custody. The boy was a 15-year-old runaway and said he didn't know Harrison, but that Harrison had approached him and asked if he was hungry. Harrison had offered to buy the boy breakfast. Before the boy could accept, Agent Sino had intervened. Harrison had no money in his possession when he was arrested, a clear indication that he didn't intend to buy breakfast for a runaway child. Agent Sino's actions prevented the victimization of a vulnerable child. The runaway was reunited with his family, and the offender was returned to custody. For his actions that day, Parole Agent Bart Sino is awarded the Bronze Star. Please come forward and accept your reward. Congratulations, Agent. Next award goes to a Correctional Officer Haydel Mitchell and Correctional Sergeant Larry Holloway. On August 18, 2012, they responded to a cell of an enhanced outpatient program inmate who was described as displaying bizarre behavior. Sergeant Holloway was not assigned to the unit, but he assisted anyway. They convinced the inmate to come out of his cell and to be escorted to the infirmary at California State Prison, Sacramento, for a mental health evaluation. As the inmate came out of his second-tier cell, he attempted to jump over the handrail. Officer Mitchell grabbed him around the waist and pulled him off of the tier railing, while Sergeant Holloway grabbed his upper body, placing him face down on the floor. The unit alarm was sounded, and Sergeant Charles Finnegan responded to put more restraints on the inmate. Once restrained, the inmate was helped to his feet, and the escort proceeded. But the inmate broke free and made a second attempt to throw himself over the handrail. Sergeant Finnegan and Officer Mitchell were able to regain control of the inmate. For their actions, Correctional Sergeants Larry Holloway, Charles Finnegan, and Correctional Officer Haydell Mitchell are awarded the Bronze Star. Please come forward to accept your awards.
Presenting the last set of Bronze Star medals will be Mike Miner, Director of the Division of Juvenile Justice.
Good morning. On July 4, 2012, Sandra Copeland, a correctional officer at the California Correctional Institute, was visiting a neighbor when they heard screams from another neighbor's yard. Officer Copeland's daughter looked over the fence and saw the neighbor holding her young son and screaming that he had drowned. Officer Copeland and her neighbor rushed to the victim and performed CPR on the 11-month-old boy. An eyewitness described the events, and I quote, "Sandra took over the scene, got on the phone with 911, and told the family what they needed to do. It was crazy. There was a lot of family and friends, a lot of screaming. Sandra instructed someone to go look for the ambulance. She was amazing. Sandra basically took command of the situation, calmed the crowd, and instructed everyone on what to do. For her actions, Correctional Officer Copeland is awarded the Bronze Star. Please come forward and receive your award." Parole Agent 1, Michael D. Williams, who was assigned to the Oakland No. 2 Parole Unit, was driving in Oakland on June 8, 2012, when he saw several men running from a gas station. He also saw a crowd gathering around a person lying on the ground. Agent Williams made an immediate U-turn and arrived to find a man on the ground who had been shot and was covered in blood. Williams retrieved a first aid kit and latex gloves from his state car while calling 911. He applied pressure to the man's wounds. He determined the victim was going into shock, so he covered the man with the blanket he obtained from the owner of a nearby store. He talked to the victim in an attempt to keep him calm until emergency personnel arrived. For his actions, Parole Agent Michael Williams is awarded a Bronze Star. Please come forward and receive your award. It appears that Mr. Williams is not here today, but we want to extend our congratulations. Correctional Sergeant Thomas Casada and Correctional Officer Jason Murillo were transporting the inmates to Salinas Valley State Prison from California State Prison, Sacramento on October 11, 2012. A van ahead of them drifted off onto the shoulder. When the driver overcorrected, the van went into the ditch and flipped several times. The wreck crumbled the vehicle, which came to rest in the middle of the road. Officer Murillo called 911 while Sergeant Casado checked the condition of the driver. The victim had superficial lacerations on her arms and face from the shattered glass and was complaining of numbness in her legs and feet as well as severe pain in her neck. Sergeant Casada began administering first aid and relayed descriptions of her injuries to Officer Murillo, who was also a volunteer firefighter. Officer Murillo instructed Sergeant Casada not to move her. Officer Murillo locked the doors of the CDCR vehicle and positioned himself so he could see its access points and maintain security inmate while coordinating traffic to make room for emergency vehicles. Emergency responders told officers that it was fortunate that she hadn't been moved. For their actions, Sergeant Casada and Officer Murillo are awarded the Bronze Star. Please come forward and receive your awards.
The Silver Star Medal is the department's third highest award for acts of bravery under extraordinary or unusual circumstances. The employee shall display courage in the face of potential peril while saving or attempting to save the life of another person, or distinguish him or herself by performing in stressful situations with exceptional tactics and judgment. Kelly Harrington, Acting Deputy Director, Facility Operations for the Division of Adult Institutions, will present the Silver Star Awards.
Thanks, Sam. Good morning. It's an honor to be here. A correctional officer was processing an inmate for a medical appointment at the Substance Abuse Treatment Facility on December 6, 2012, when the inmate attacked him. The inmate punched the officer in the face, knocking him out. The inmate wrapped his arm around the back of the officer's neck. He repeatedly struck the officer in the face. A nurse activated her personal alarm device, summoning assistance. Correctional Officer Joanne Bernias immediately bypassed waiting inmates, not knowing if they would join the assault, and began grappling with the inmate. She was immediately followed by Correctional Counselor 1, Martin Hernandez. The inmate then attacked them. The inmate struck them numerous times. Additional staff members responded and subdued the inmate. Hernandez suffered bruises and an injury to his jaw. Officer Bernias suffered numerous bruises and a dislocated right shoulder. The officer attacked by the inmate suffered a concussion and a broken nose. Without the response of Correctional Officer Bernias and Correctional Counselor Hernandez, taken without hesitation or regard for their own safety, it is likely that the attacked officer would have sustained more severe injuries or even death. For their actions, Correctional Officer Bernias and Correctional Counselor 1 Hernandez are awarded the Silver Stars. Officer Bernias is unable to be here today. Counselor Hernandez, please come forward to receive your award. Special Agent Christopher Paris and Lieutenant Chris Caldwell, as part of CDCR's Office of Correctional Safety Emergency Operations Unit, provided valuable assistance to the Elk Grove Police Department's Crisis Response Unit during a hostage situation last year. On November 28, 2012, Sacramento County Animal Control Officer Roy Markham was fatally shot while attempting to secure dogs from a foreclosed home in Galt. The suspect then barricaded himself in the house. Agent Paris and Lieutenant Caldwell, who had provided training to the Elk Grove Police Department's hostage negotiations team, went to the scene to provide assistance. Using CDCR resources, they provided valuable information in real time. They provided input about the suspect's demeanor. They also helped formulate a successful plan to take the suspect into custody, ending the 17-hour standoff without further violence or injury. The Elk Grove Police Department formally thanked the pair for their contributions. For their actions, Special Agent Paris and Lieutenant Caldwell are awarded the Silver Star. Please come forward to receive your awards. On January 27, 2012, a Mule Creek State Prison team of officers were on a transport to Stockton. While waiting in his state vehicle, Officer Jeff Gold watched as a car pulled to the curb nearby. Gold saw a man jump out of the car and throw a cup of liquid at a man sitting on the street corner. He then hit the man, threw him to the ground, and continued to strike him. Officer Gold informed his partner that he was going to assist the victim. As Officer Gold drew his baton and ordered the assailant to stop, Officer Gold heard someone yell, he has a gun. As Officer Gold neared the man with the gun, he dropped it. Officer Gold then handcuffed the suspect. With the man safely secured, Officer Gold contacted 911. He secured a 9mm pistol and removed the clip. When Stockton Police Department units arrived, Officer Gold helped place the suspect into a patrol car. Officer Gold then returned to his vehicle and the team completed the transport. For his actions, Officer Gold is awarded the Silver Star. Please come forward for your award. Special Agent Steve Epperson was in San Diego Superior Court on December 13, 2012, as a case agent in a trial for 3 Mexican Mafia-associated inmates charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Agent Epperson, assigned to the Office of Correctional Safety Special Services Unit, San Diego Field Office, was the lead investigator in the case involving Eduardo Macias and 2 other inmates at the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility. Agent Epperson was seated at the prosecutor's table immediately adjacent to the defendants and their public defender, William Bergner. As testimony continued, Agent Epperson heard Bergner yell. Agent Epperson saw blood running through the attorney's fingers. Agent Epperson pulled Bergner behind him, placing him between the public defender and Macias. Believing Macias was still armed, Agent Epperson drew his firearm and ordered Macias to stop the attack. San Diego Sheriff's Department personnel subdued Macias. Bergner had a significant facial laceration that was bleeding profusely. Agent Epperson rendered first aid, obtaining towels, and applying direct pressure. He continued to provide medical attention until medical personnel arrived. For his actions, Special Agent Steve Epperson is awarded the Silver Star. Please come forward.
The Gold Star Medal is the department's second highest award for heroic deeds under extraordinary circumstances. The employee shall display courage in the face of immediate peril in acting to save the life of another person. Michael Stainer, Director of the Division of Adult Institutions, will present these awards.
Yeah, good morning again. It's my pleasure and an honor to present these next 3 medals. Agents with the California Parolee Apprehension Team were conducting an operation to find parolee at large Stephen Hoff. Hoff had an extensive criminal record and was considered extremely violent. On January 4th, 2012, following a tip, a team of parole agents went to the home of Hoff's girlfriend, a small trailer in Lakeview Terrace. Parole agents called the girlfriend out of the trailer and interviewed her. She claimed she didn't know Hoff's whereabouts. The agents called out Hoff's name and announced parole, police, several times before entering the trailer. Agents Henrik Agassian and another parole agent worked their way through the trailer. Near the rear of the trailer, Agent Lopez noticed movement under a blanket on a bed. Suddenly, shots were fired from underneath the blanket, striking both agents. Agent Agassian returned fire and helped the wounded agent out of the trailer. They were treated to a secure area for treatment. Agent Agassian sustained injuries to his lower extremities. Hoff was later arrested by Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Special Enforcement Bureau team. For his actions, Parole Agent Agassian is awarded the Gold Star. Please come forward to accept your medal. Correctional Sergeant Charles Contreras was traveling east of Bakersfield on July 24, 2012, when a vehicle behind him went out of control, ran off the road, and down a steep 100-foot embankment. Sergeant Contreras immediately pulled off the road and scrambled down the embankment. At the wreckage, he saw that the 2 male occupants had serious injuries. The passenger was pinned inside the vehicle. Sergeant Contreras helped the driver out of the vehicle and used his T-shirt to wrap the driver's hand, which was bleeding profusely. He told the driver to lie down and hold his arm above his heart. Sergeant Contreras could tell from the passenger's injuries, his lack of response, and his skin color that his condition was grave. Contreras comforted the man, assuring him that help would arrive soon. When fire department personnel arrived, they freed the passenger, but he did die from his injury. The driver was taken to the hospital and survived. Sergeant Contreras' willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty saved one man's life and assured that the other was not alone during his last struggle for life. For his actions, Sergeant Contreras, who is since promoted to lieutenant, is awarded the Gold Star. Please come forward to accept your medal. Correctional Officer Jason Parkhurst and his K-9 partner Scar were on Interstate 8 on June 7, 2012, returning to Ironwood State Prison when Officer Parkhurst saw an SUV in front of him veering erratically. The SUV hit the mountainside, spun around twice as it crossed 2 lanes of traffic, and then disappeared over an embankment. Officer Parkhurst pulled over, instructed another motorist to call 911, and then made his way down 500 feet of a boulder-strewn slope to the crushed vehicle. He found the single occupant, an elderly man, had head injuries and multiple abrasions. Officer Parkhurst rendered first aid and was able to keep the victim conscious and calm while he waited for help. After 45 minutes, a single firefighter arrived. Officer Parkhurst and the firefighter were able to apply a neck brace and stabilize the victim until additional firefighters arrived with a gurney. Officer Parkhurst helped carry the gurney up the rocky mountainside because several firemen were overcome with heat exhaustion. The elderly victim driver was taken to a waiting helicopter. And for his actions, Officer Parkhurst is awarded the Gold Star. Please come forward to accept your award.
Congratulations to all of our award recipients. We thank you all for coming. Thank you.